The following matchup is presented and played with Hockey Blast Express, a product of Play Games LLC, copyright 2023, all rights reserved. Welcome to this week's episode of the Hockey Blast Express Hour. In today's episode, we have a great matchup for you on hand as we rewind back the clock to 2019 and the 2019 Stanley Cup Final to be featured on the latest edition of Stanley Cup Finals Rewind for the Hockey Blast Express Hour. This matchup will feature the fierce rivals going at it between the Boston Bruins and the Cinderella story of the NHL, the 2018-19 season in the St. Louis Blues. Will St. Louis prevail and continue their Cinderella story success here on the tabletop? Well, I guess you're going to have to tune in, I should say, and figure it out yourself as we will have game one for you coming up next. But first, let's have a little look and say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of the Hockey Blast Express Hour. We would like to take the time to send out a special thanks to our Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode. Today's episode of the Hockey Blast Express Hour is brought to you in part by Bitty Beer. They say it's a blend of hops, rice, and barley that gives Bitty Beer its distinctive taste. But we know better. It's our brewing process that gives our beer that one-of-a-kind flavor that no premium beer can match. Our vats have never been cleaned, so there's an itty bit of history in every can. Bitty Beer, the beer for folks who can't afford better. And we remind you, if you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. And by Doc Cola, the official cola beverage of the Play Games community. Doc Cola uses the finest imitation ingredients that bring you that sugary blast of caffeine you've come to know and love. With twice the sugar and 3 times the caffeine of any other major brand, Doc Cola is sure to keep you wired from dawn until dusk. So, while you're at it, take the Doc Cola challenge and see where our customers agree you'll never be able to wean yourself from refreshing Doc Cola. And by Ice Brew, the official brewery choice of the Play Games community. Brewed in the frozen tundra of northern Wisconsin, Ice Brew is a beer made for sports fans and tailgating. Our 150-year-old family recipe is brewed to make the most of every ingredient. We use hops, barley, wheat, corn, rice, oats, quinoa, spelt, malt, and sunflower seeds blended together with the finest water shipped in from the shores of Lake Michigan. One sip, and you'll agree there's nothing like Ice Brew. And by Pizza Kingdom, the official pizza joint of the Play Games community. At Pizza Kingdom, our signature New York pizza starts with the crust when we layer on our homemade pizza sauce, then load your pizza up with mounds of cheese. When it comes out of the oven, it's piping hot, golden brown, and ready for you to enjoy. And we give that majestic culinary work of art to Mikey, our 16-year-old delivery driver, who is as responsible as a tree stump. Pizza Kingdom. It was sure perfection when it's left in the store. And we're just about set and ready to go for game one of this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup as we rewind back to the 2019 Stanley Cup Final. That was a classic between the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues. This is going to be a fun matchup for sure, and let's get right into it. Your starting netminders for Boston and St. Louis are as follows. Tuukka Rask will go for Boston, and Jordan Binnington will oppose him at the other end of the ice for St. Louis. With that being said, let's get right into things, and let's drop the puck and play some hockey. And we're going to begin this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup between the Bruins and Blues with a quality check between players 2 and 3. That's Jay Bouwmeester and Brandon Carlo. The quality that we're looking for is skill. Both Bouwmeester and Carlo have skill, and that is going to be it for this segment, and we will move on to the next one. We got a home scoring chance of a 33, and it reads home player in one. That's Ryan O'Reilly. He creates a goal opportunity with a quality roll of hit or a triangle. Although he does not have hit, he does have a triangle well enough to skate on into Tuukka Rask to hopefully net a 1, 2, or 3 to make the stop, which he will do so to keep this game scoreless through the first 10 minutes of play in this hockey game. Quality check between both players in 5. That is going to be Torrey Krug and David Perron. The quality that we're looking for is skill. Both Perron and Krug have skill, and that is going to be all she wrote for this segment. And we will go on to the next one. Penalty check between players 4 and 1. That's Oscar Sundquist and David Krejci. It looks like Oscar Sundquist is going to go to the box as David Krejci is going to skate on into Jordan Binnington to hopefully net a 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the play save to prevent David Krejci from scoring on the power play, which he won't. Boston will get on the board early, early because of David Krejci on the power play. We stay put with another penalty check between players 3 and 1. This time it's Pat Maroon against David Backes. Oh man, St. Louis can't get out of the penalty box here. Pat Maroon will have to go sit down in the sin bin as David Backes is going to have to skate on into Jordan Binnington to hopefully net a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to make the play save, which he will do so. And that is going to be it for the first period. And after the first 20 minutes of play, the Boston Bruins lead this Stanley Cup Finals rewind matchup between the Blues and the Bruins by a score of 1-0 from David Krejci on the power play. Oh, and it's triple ones. So for this, normally it would be an injury to a home player, but since we have all the players that are playing in the Stanley Cup Final out on the boards already, we will then move on to the scoring chance. So it's going to be an 11 for the visiting team. Home goalie must make a play save. So Jordan Binnington will have to net a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to make the stop. He does, nobody flips, and we will move on to the next segment. Home scoring chance of a 13, and it reads visitor goalie must make play save. So Tuukka Rask needs to net a 1, 2, or 3 to keep this game at 1-0. It won't. The Blues are going to score their first goal of the game to tie things up. Let's see who scored it. 3, third best shot rating. So the best out there is Vladimir Tarasenko. The tied for the second best is Shen and Barbashev. So Colton Parayko is going to score the game's first goal for St. Louis and the game tying goal in for game 1 of this matchup for the Stanley Cup Finals Rewind as we rewind back in time to the 2019 Stanley Cup Final. Oh, we got triple fives as we stay put in this segment with a we got a fight plus a momentum shot. Do we have any takers? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We are definitely going to go with Shen. Well, actually, no. I do want to keep that triangle out there, the circle out there. Man, you know what? I'm willing. I'm willing enough to give up one triangle. So Braden Shen and Sean Corrali will be our. Well, actually, no. Braden Shen is gonna. What is this? He's fighting the big guys, Zdeno Chara. Shen is saying, "Drop the gloves, Chara. Let's go at it." Chara will agree. The gloves are off, and the bell sounds, and here we go. 4. High fight player lands a punch. That's Chara. 1-0 Bruins. 5. Home player lands a punch. Braden Shen. 2. Visitor lands a punch. 2-1 Boston. Visitor lands a punch unless if it's the first punch, yeah, Chara is going to knock out Braden Shen, and he's going to have a critical 6-star shot against the opposing goalie spec save rating for Jordan Binnington. So Chara wins the battle 3 punches to 1, as Jordan Binnington will have to make a spec save. He needs to net a 3 or 4 with a dot to make it, which he will do so. Chara may have won the fight against Shen, but he is not. But Binnington says, nah, I'm saving my best. I'm saving my teammate. I'm preventing you from scoring on me because you won the fight against my teammate, Braden Shen. Home scoring chance of a 51, and it reads visitor defense player in 2. That's Danton Heinen. He creates a goal with a quality roll. Oh, I'm sorry, 51. I'm sorry. He stops a goal opportunity for St. Louis with a quality roll of skill or a square. Although he does not have a square, he does have skill well enough to stop the St. Louis goal attempt. You stop one of my guys from scoring, now I stop you from getting past, from having the puck get past me and to the back of the net of Tuukka Rask. Another home scoring chance. This time it's a 42. Any home player with a triangle creates a goal. Yes, Tarasenko or Pietrangelo will have an opportunity to score here. Dot, it'll be Tarasenko. And it will be Pietrangelo. So Pietrangelo will skate on into Tuukka Rask because he needs to net a 1, 2, or 3 to make the stop, which he will do so. And that is going to be it for the second period. And after an eventful second period between the Boston fight for a fight between Shen and Chara, with Chara knocking out Shen 3 punches to 1. The game remains tied after 40 minutes of play at 1-1. We got a penalty check between players 2 and 4. That's Bouwmeester and Pasternak. Both guys have the same penalty rating of 0.5. And that is going to be all she wrote for that segment. And we will move on to the next one. Quality check between anybody in the ice for the Blues against player number 2. That's Brad Marchand. The quality we're looking for is power. The only 4 guys besides Barbashev that have power are Tarasenko, Parayko, Bozak, and Bortuzzo. You know what? Bozak is going to be the lucky contestant here, as he does not have a symbol printed out on his card. So both Bozak and Marchand will tie it up for power. And that is going to be it for this segment. And we will move on to the next one. Visitor scoring chance of a 41, and it reads visitor player in 4. That's Jake DeBrusk. He creates a goal opportunity with a quality roll of speed or a triangle. Although he does not have a triangle, He does have speed well enough to skate on into Jordan Bennington to hopefully net a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to make the stop, which he will do so to keep this game right where it's at as we head to the final segment before possibly going to overtime. We got a quality check between players 2 and 1. That's Pareko and Nordstrom. The quality that we're looking for is hit. Colton Pareko has hit, and he's going to skate on into Tuukka Rask, who needs to make a 1, 2, or 3 on the play save. If Rask makes this save, we're going to overtime. He won't, and the Blues will take the lead courtesy of Colton Pareko. We're going to stay put in this segment here, as this game is not over yet. Home scoring chance of a 54. This is the Blues' chance to extend their lead. 54. Visitor defense player in 5. That's Matt Grichlick. He stops a St. Louis goal opportunity with a quality roll of skill or a square. He does have a square, and he does have skill well enough to stop the St. Louis goal attempt. And Tuukka Rask is heading off to the bench as we head off to the empty net mini chart to decide this one. 8. The game is over. The final score here for game 1, St. Louis holds on by a nail biter and by a go-ahead goal from Colton Pareko in this last segment of game 1 to win it for St. Louis and take game 1 of this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup from Boston as they win game 1 by a score of 2-1. Wow, what a game, guys. What a game. So without further delay, stay tuned for the Biddy Beer game summary presented by your favorite Biddy Beer products, as we will also be taking a look at our key plays from this game. And no doubt one of those key plays will include the Chara and Shen fight near the end of the second period, near the beginning or in the middle stanza of the second period, which probably may have shut the door for Boston as Jordan Bennington saw that shot, saw that fight go down and says, I'm not going to let Chara score after he knocked out one of my guys. But Rask also said, nah, no way. But the Boston player said, nah, no way. We're not letting you score on us after what you just did on my teammate Zdeno Chara. With that being said, stay tuned for game 2 coming up right after we take a look at the game summary from game 1, as well as our key plays of the game presented by your favorite Biddy Beer products. If you choose to drink Biddy Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste at a Biddy price. It's Biddy Beer. Stay tuned for game 2 coming up in just a few short moments. What a tight game 1 that we just witnessed here for this episode of the Stanley Cup Finals Rewind, featuring the 2019 Stanley Cup Finals that featured the 2018-19 Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues. Welcome inside the Biddy Beer Game Studios for your game summary for Game 1, presented by your favorite Biddy Beer products. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Biddy Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste at a Biddy price. It's Biddy Beer. Your game summary is as follows. Nothing doing here for both teams, but David Krejci for Boston would score the lone goal for Boston, and Colton Pareko would net 2 goals for St. Louis in the 2-1 victory for the Blues. The penalties came on St. Louis's side, unfortunately. Oscar Sundqvist would suffer the David Krejci power play goal, as his penalty ended up being nothing but net for Boston. But Pat Maroon, he was not so lucky, but he did come away with a Jordan Binnington play save. Colton Parayko would be the lone quality check winner in this game as he would win the battle for hit. Your key plays from this game, I had to pick one key play from this game, and that was the big fight between Zdeno Chara and Braden Shen. Zdeno Chara would eventually KO Braden Shen as in that little David versus Goliath matchup, as Chara would win the fight 3 punches to 1, but ended up um, but Binnington, I should say, would end up would coming through to keep the game tied at 1-1 all in order for Colton Parayko to score later on in the third period off of the quality check win for hit and would score the game winner. And here are your 3 stars of the game presented by your favorite Biddy Beer products. David Krejci would be taking home star number 3 honors for game 1. Jordan Binnington would take home star number 2 honors as he nets the win and records an unofficial 25 saves. Colton Parayko, as you could tell, will be star number 1 as he scored 2 goals and would net a quality check win. Well, that does it for game 1, but let's see if the Blues can take a 2-0 advantage or if Boston can tie up this series coming up next here in game 2. Either a Boston tie or a St. Louis Blues win in game 2 will suffice for either of these teams because in game 2, it will be an epic classic for sure. Because guess what? I believe game 2 is going to start next. And welcome back, everyone, as we get set for game 2 of this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup between the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues. The Blues won an intense game in game 1 by the final of 2-1. Let's see if Boston can try to rebound here to avoid, for one, the sweep and to set up a winner-take-all game for game number 3. With that being said, your starting netminders for game 2, as they were in game 1, Jordan Binnington will be in net for St. Louis, and Tuukka Rask will oppose him at the other end of the ice for Boston. With that being said, let's see what game 2 will bring for this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup as we will revisit the 2019 Stanley Cup Finals. With that being said, let's drop the puck and play some hockey. And we're going to begin with a quality check between players 2 and 5. That's Noel Acciari and Robert Bortuzzo. The quality that we're looking for is hit. Both Acciari and Bortuzzo have hit. And that is going to be all she wrote for the opening segment of game number 1 here at the TD Garden in Boston. As we move on to the next segment, we got ourselves a visitor scoring chance of a 45, and it reads, any visitor player with a power play circle star symbol creates a power play goal. Yes, Vladimir Tarasenko has that power play circle star symbol printed out on his card, so he's going to skate on in to Tuukka Rask to hopefully net a 1, 2, or 3 to make the stop. Which he won't. The Blues get on the board early, courtesy of Vladimir Tarasenko, and it will be considered to be a power play goal. Quality check between both players in 3. That's Barbashev and Kuraly. The quality we're looking for is hit. Oh, it looks like Sean Kuraly is going to win this one over Ivan Barbashev for hit. As Kuraly is going to skate on into Jordan Binnington to hopefully net a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to make the stop. Which he won't. Kuraly answers back from the power play goal as Boston ties things up at 1-1 here through the first 10 minutes of the hockey game of game two of this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup. We stay put in this segment with a home scoring chance of a 41. Home player in 5, that's Patrice Bergeron. He creates a goal opportunity with a quality roll of skill or a triangle. Yes, Patrice Bergeron does have the triangle. Also, he does have skill, so that is well enough to move in on Jordan Binnington to hopefully net a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to make the stop, which he will do so. Oh, that's going to be it for this segment, and we will move on to the next one. Visitor scoring chance of a 23, and it reads home goalie must make spec save. So Tuukka Rask needs to net a 3 or a 4 with a dot to make the save, which he will do so. Nobody flips, and we will move on to the next segment. We got ourselves a quality check between players 3 and 1. That's Charlie Coyle and Robert Thomas going at it. The quality we're looking for is hit. Neither Coyle or Robert Thomas have hit, and that is going to be all she wrote for this segment. And we will move on to the next one. Quality check between players 5 and 4. That is Charlie McAvoy and Oscar Sundquist. The quality we're looking for is hit. Both McAvoy and Oscar Sundquist have hit, and that is going to be all she wrote for this segment. And we will move on to the next segment. We got ourselves another quality check. This time it's between both players in 3. Carlo and Dunn are going to be the players in question. And the battle is for power. Both Brandon Carlo and Vince Dunn have power printed on their card. Therefore, that's going to be it for this segment. We will move on to the next one. Man, oh man, another quality check. This time it'll be between players 2 and anybody in the ice for the Blues. So it's going to be Danton Heinen for the Bruins. And for the Blues, the quality we're looking for is speed. Guess what? The only player out there with speed for the Blues is Ryan O'Reilly. So both Heinen and O'Reilly will tie for speed. And that is going to be all she wrote for this segment. And we will move on to the next one. Quality check between anybody in the ice for the Bruins and player number 5 for the Blues. That's Joel Edmondson. The quality we're looking for is power. Besides Camphor, pick your poison between Moore, Corrali, Marchand, and Krejci. Well, Marchand was flipped, so I'm going to ignore him. Excuse me. Um, so it's down between Krejci, Corrali, and Moore. We'll have the red die decide. 1, 2 will be Krejci, 3, 4 will be Corrali, and 5, 6 will be John Moore. And it will be John Moore, so both he and Edmondson will tie things up for power. And that's going to be all she wrote for the second period here. And after the first 40 minutes of play, we are all deadlocked even at 1-1. We begin the third with a penalty check between players 5 and 2. That's Camphor and Pietrangelo. Both guys have the same penalty rating of 0.5, and that is going to be all she wrote for this segment. And the ref says, play on. But if I catch you do anything stupid, you're going to the sin bin. Visitor scoring chance of a 35. Visitor player in 2, that's Jay Bomeister. He creates a goal opportunity with a quality roll of power or a triangle. Although he does not have a triangle, he does have power well enough to skate on into Tuukka Rask to hopefully net a 1, 2, or 3 to make the stop, which he will do so to keep this game right where it's at of a 1-1 deadlock. As we continue on to the next segment. Home scoring chance of a 21, and it reads: visitor goalie must make shot save. Jordan Bennington was not known for many shot saves in the 2018-19 season, but he needs to make a 1 or a 2 here to keep this game tied. He won't, and the Bruins are going to score the go-ahead goal this time. Let's see who scored it. 8, player with the best shot rating. That's going to be a tie between Marchand and Pasternak. Um, it'll be Pasternak. And it will be Pasternak. So Pasternak will score the go-ahead goal for the Bruins as they take a 2-1 lead here in the third period at the 15th minute of this third period. And let's move on to the next portion. We got a quality check between players 5 and 1. That is going to be Marcus Johansson and Vladdy Tarasenko. The quality we're looking for is skill. Both Tarasenko and Johansson have skill, and that is going to be it for this segment. You're going to go to the final segment of Game 2 before possibly heading off to either the empty net mini chart or overtime. Quality check between players 3 and 2. That's Corrali and Parayko. The quality we're looking for is star. Colton Parayko has star printed on his card, well enough to skate on into Tuukka Rask to hopefully net a 1, 2, or 3 to hopefully tie things up. He can't save it. Parayko ties this game up at 2. Is the Cinderella story striking true here for the St. Louis Blues in our rewind matchup? Let's find out as we move on to the next portion of this segment. Visitor scoring chance of a 52, and it reads: home player in 2. That's Brad Marchand. He stops a goal opportunity with a quality roll of power or a square. Although he does not have a square, he does have power, and that is going to be enough to force sudden death overtime. Quality check between players 2 and anybody on the ice for the Blues. The quality that we're looking for is power. Either way, this game is probably going to be going to a shootout, as I really have been playing all of my games with as played rules for the shootout. But again, this is the Stanley Cup Finals Rewind, and since there were no shootouts in the Stanley Cup Finals, all my games were played. They got to this point. We're going to be held with a shootout either way. So, with that being said, we'll go right across from them with Alex Petrangelo as they tie it up with power. And folks, we are going to go to a shootout. And it looks like St. Louis is going to be victorious as they take a 3-2 win via the shootout. Let's see who scored the goal. 10. Second best shot rating. The best out there is Shen. And we have a tie for the second best between Maroon, Schwartz, and Thomas. Let's roll the red die to decide. So besides 2 or a 4 and a 6, so 2, 4, or a 6 will be a reroll. So we need a 1, three, or a 1, 3, or 5 to decide who scored the game winner. Reroll. Player number 5, that's Jaden Schwartz. So Jaden Schwartz is going to um, seal the deal for the Blues in a shootout victory here, even though the Stanley Cup Finals did not feature any shootouts on our tabletop for all my games that I've been playing throughout the Hockey Blast Express Hour. If the game ended in a tie going into we would go to a shootout. Excuse me. So with that being said, the Blues will take a 2-0 lead in this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup as the Bruins are down 0-2, but can they prevent the sweep? Even though the St. Louis Blues are going to win this even though the Blues already have won this matchup, can they go for the sweep? We will find out in a matter of moments. So stay right where you are as we take stay right where you are. Grab your favorite snack, your favorite beverage, and let's settle in for Game 3. But first, before we do so, let's take a look at our game summary for Game 2, our key plays of the game for this game, and um in our episode summary so far through the first 2 games of the Stanley Cup Finals Rewind. And as always, all of those are presented by your favorite Bitty Beer products. If you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste at a bitty price. It's Bitty Beer. Once again, the final score for Game 2, the Blues win it in a shootout, the score of 3-2. What a eventful and thrilling Game 2 win for the St. Louis Blues as they take this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup 2 games, and so far they would win the series 2 games to none. But can they go for the sweep? We'll find out in just a few short moments. But first, here's your Game 2 game summary presented by your favorite Bitty Beer products. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste at a bitty price. It's Bitty Beer. For this Game 2 summary, the Boston Bruins would see the goal scorers coming from Sean Kuraly and David Pastrnak, and no penalties were drawn from either team as both teams played a complete clean game. But Kuraly and Parayko were the quality check winners for both of their teams. For Kuraly, he will win the battle for hit, and Colton Parayko would win the battle this time for star. For St. Louis, Vladimir Tarasenko, and of course Colton Parayko, and Jaden Schwartz would all score. Um, their would be tallied on the score sheet for St. Louis. For Schwartz, would come in via the shootout. Even though shootouts were not used during the Stanley Cup Finals, I decided that for all of my games that I have played so far in this first inaugural season of the Hockey Blast Express Hour, if the game does go to a shootout, um, we will indeed play it everything as written. And of course, Vladimir Tarasenko's goal came on a power play. No key plays from this game, but here are your 3 stars for Game 2. For star number 3 honors, I had to give it to Sean Kuraly, who scored the game tying goal in the first period, right after Vladimir Tarasenko scored on the power play. Plus, Kuraly would net the quality check win battle for hit. Star number 2 I would have to give it to Colton Parayko as he would tie up the game in the third before going to overtime. And of course, star number 1, Jaden Schwartz, would net the game winner in a shootout. So St. Louis has already won this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup 2 games to none. But can they go for the sweep, or will Boston try to prevent St. Louis from prevailing to get the sweep? Well, I guess you're going to have to tune in to find out because Game 3 is coming up next. Sweep or no sweep? We find out the answer to that question right now as we head towards the final game of this matchup for the Blues and the Bruins in this revisit of the Stanley Cup Finals from 2019. The Blues already won this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup, winning 2-0. But can they go for the ultimate win here as they look to sweep the Bruins in this matchup? With that being said, your starting netminders are Tuukka Rask and Jordan Binnington. Let's find out together, sweep or no sweep. Let's answer that question right now. Let's drop the puck and play some hockey. And to start off, we got a triple three. So this is going to be a critical face-off between two high face-off rated players. And it looks like it's going to go between Coyle and Braden Shen. No, wait. Excuse me. Actually, it's Krejci and Braden Shen. So David Krejci is going to win this critical face-off between Braden Shen as he looks to move in on Jordan Binnington to hopefully get the Bruins on right off and running here. Jordan needs to net a 1, 2, or 3, 1, 2, 3, or 4 to make the stop. Or excuse me, a 3 or 4 with a dot. And yes, a 3 is going to do it to keep Boston out and down for the count in this opening segment here of this hockey game as the Blues look to sweep the Bruins in this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup. We got ourselves a quality check between players 5 and 2. That's Alex Steen and Danton Heinen. The quality we're looking for is power. Both Steen and Heinen have power, and that is going to be all she wrote for this segment. And we will move on to the next one. Home scoring chance of a 13, and it reads: visitor goalie must make play save. Tuukka Rask needs to net a 1, 2, or 3 to do so. He can't, and the Blues are right off on the right track here on their way to a sweep as they lead it 1-0. Let's see who scored the goal. 8. Player with the best shot rating. So the best out there on the ice right now is actually it's Tyler Bozak because of the dot showing. He does have the highest face. He does have the highest has the best shot rating out there on the ice. So Tyler Bozak will score the game's first goal. Will score the ice-breaking goal for the Blues, and we will stay put in this segment with a quality check between players 3 and 1. That's Pat Maroon and David Backes. They both have the same qualities, but is their star printed on their cards? No, there is not. So both guys, both Maroon and David Backes, will be flipped, and that is going to be it for this segment. As the Blues take a 1-0 lead going into the next segment. Penalty check between players 5 and 2. That's Sanford and Brad Marchand. Get yourself in the box, Brad Marchand. You can sit there for as long as you like, but you're not going to like the call on this one as Zach Sanford is going to skate on into Tuukka Rask as he needs to make a 1, 2, or 3 to make the stop. He does so, man. As this period will come to an end. And after the first 20 minutes of play here at Enterprise Center in St. Louis, the Blues lead the Bruins by a score of 1-0. Not a quality check, excuse me. Visitor scoring chance of a 23. Home goalie must make spec save, so Jordan Binnington needs to net a 3 or a 4 with a dot to make the stop. Which he will do so, and nobody flips, and we will move on to the next segment. We got ourselves a quality check between players 4 and 2. That's Oscar Sundquist and Noel Achari. The quality we're looking for is speed. It looks like both Sundquist and Noel Achari are going to tie things up for speed, and that is going to be all she wrote in this segment. And we will move on to the next one. Another quality check. This time it'll be between players 3 and 2. This time it's Ivan Barbashev and Danton Heinen. The quality we're looking for is skill. Both Barbashev and Heinen have skill, and that is going to be all she wrote for this segment. And we will move on to the next one. We got ourselves a quality check between players 4 and 6, and anybody on the ice for the Bruins. Braden Shen will be the player in question, as the quality we're looking for is star. Oh man, oh man. The only Bruin out there with star is Brad Marchand, as he is going to pick up the win, the quality check win here, as he will skate on into Jordan Binnington to hopefully tie this game up. A 1, 2, 3, or 4 will not do so. It will not, as the Bruins stay out the as Binnington keeps the Bruins off the board. It is a still a 1-0 lead for the St. Louis Blues after 40 minutes of play here in this hockey game. Visitor scoring chance of a 65, and it reads visitor defense stop, breakaway chance, home goalie must make spec save. Wow, what a start to this third period here as the Bruins look to avoid the sweep here, as Bennington needs to make a 3 or 4 with a dot to make the stop. He can't, and the Bruins get on the board on a breakaway. 6, player with the best shot rating. That is going to be Jake DeBrusk scoring games the game tying goal, as the Bruins look to stay off of the sweep by the Blues, and we will move on to the next portion in this segment. Home scoring chance of a 56. Any visitor player with a square stops a St. Louis Blues goal. Unfortunately, I don't see any squares out there for the Bruins, so therefore St. Louis is going to say, "Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you." The Blues are going to score the game's third goal of the game's third goal, their second of the game, and let's see who scored it. 6, player with the best shot rating. That is going to be between Dunn, Thomas, and Bozak. Um, we'll have the red die decide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, Robert Thomas is 1, 2. Dunn is 3, 4. Bozak is 5, 6. And it will be Tyler Bozak. It would be his second of the game, and it will be considered, and he is considered to be on hat trick watch. Quality check between players 3 and 1. That's Vince Dunn and Joachim Nordstrom. The quality we're looking for is skill. It looks like 3 and 1. Yes, Vince Dunn has skill, so he's going to skate on into Tuukka Rask to hopefully net a 1, 2, or 3 to make the stop. He won't, and Vince Dunn gives the Blues their 3-1 lead. And folks, it could possibly be the Blues are well on their way to be sweeping the Bruins. Quality check between players 4 and anyone in the ice for the Bruins. Sundquist is going to get involved. The quality we're looking for is power. The only 4 guys out there besides Kuhlman uh, is Moore, Coyle, Achari. Oh, and Nordstrom. I'm sorry. He was used. Sorry. And Krejci. So since Krejci was flipped, I'm going to go with either Achari, Coyle, or Moore. Um, let's have, just in case for the critical face-off, I'm going to keep Achari out there. So it's between Moore and Coyle. Dot, it'll be Coyle. And it will be Coyle. So Charlie Coyle will tie things up for power with Oscar Sundquist. And we will continue on to the next segment with a visitor scoring chance of a 33, and it reads choice visitor player rolls for rebound goal using shot stars +2. Kuhlman needs, so looking at the odds here, Kuhlman needs a 3 or a 4 with a dot. Krejci just needs a 3. It's close, but I think I'm going to give it to Kuhlman. I'm going to try with Kuhlman. So a 3 or 4 with a dot, Kuhlman will score the goal. It will. The Bruins are not dead yet as Kuhlman scores the 5th goal of the game, the 2nd of the game for the Bruins. And we will continue on in this segment with a home scoring chance of a 34, and it reads home player in 2, that's Jay Bouwmeester. He creates a goal with a quality roll of speed or a triangle. Although we know he doesn't have a triangle, neither he does have speed. So therefore, it's going to be a no action result, and we will move on to the next segment. Visitor scoring chance of a 63. Any home player with a circle prevents a power play goal. Unfortunately, I don't see a circle out there. So the Bruins are going to tie the game up at 3-all. Let's see who scored it, and it will be considered to be a power play. A power play goal. 8, player with the best shot rating, and that's going to go to David Krejci. So David Krejci is going to score the game-tying goal, and this game, all of a sudden, has probably gone in the way of the Bruins as they look to stay off the sweep. We got a quality check to begin the next segment with players 2 and 4, Parayko and Moore. The quality we're looking for is speed. Neither Parayko or Moore has speed, and that is going to be it for that segment. And we will move on to the final segment of this game before heading off to possibly either the empty net mini chart or sudden death overtime. Quality check between both players in 2 for Smart. That will be Pietrangelo and Achari. Alex Pietrangelo is going to win that one as he does have Smart. So he's going to skate on into Tuukka Rask to hopefully net a 1, 2, or 3 to make the stop. It won't. The Blues take the lead courtesy of Alex Pietrangelo as the Blues will score their 4th goal of the game, the 7th goal overall. All in this one, in this game 3. And we stay put in this portion and move on to the next portion in this segment with a penalty check between players, anyone on the ice for the Blues against player number 4, that's David Pastrnak. Well, either way, this is interesting. So here's what we'll do. 1, 2, the Bruins will go on the power play. 3, 4, we tie. 5, 6, the Blues are going to go on the power play. We'll roll the red die to decide. Again, 1, 2, the Bruins are going to go on the power play. 3, 4, we tie. 5, 6, the Blues will go on the power play. And it looks like the Bruins are going to end up going on the power play. So Pat Maroon is going to go to the box because he has the higher penalty rating. So the Boston Bruins, David Pastrnak is going to move in on Jordan Binnington to hopefully net a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to make the stop. He does, and folks, we are going to go to the empty net mini chart. to decide if the game is over or if we are going to go to sudden death overtime. Well, leading team goalie must make shot save. Jordan Bennington, the game is on your stick. A one or a two will end it right here. No, it won't. The Bruins come all the way back to tie it up at 4 to send this game to overtime. 9. That is the player with the second best shot rating. So it looks like it's a tie between Heinen and Backus. And guess what? Actually, I'm going to give it to Heinen. Forget the decider that. I'm going to give the goal to Danton Heinen. And folks, we are going to sudden death overtime for the second straight game. Visitor scoring chance of a 33. Choice visitor player rolls for rebound goal using shot stars +2. You better believe it. I'm giving that to Brad Marchand. He needs to roll a 1. Let's see, a 3, 4, 5, a 1 through 5. A 6 will send this game to a shootout. The ball game is over. The Boston Bruins come all the way back to tie things up at 4 to send this game to sudden death overtime. And they prevent a sweep at the hands of the St. Louis Blues. However, they managed to salvage the last game of this rivalry of this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup. Unfortunately for them, it was too little, too late. The St. Louis Blues will take home the victory in this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup, winning 2-1. But the Bruins had the last laugh as they avoid they avoid the sweep at the hands of the Blues by winning it in overtime 5-4. Oh man, oh man, oh man, what a match, what a game this was. What a series, what a matchup this was. If you like what you saw, the like is very much appreciated, as well as if you would like to leave a comment down below, but please no derogatory language. And again, for the stay tuned for the game summary of Game 3, as well as our key plays of the game for Game 3, as well as our and as well as final thoughts from this matchup. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, your final score for Game 3: the Bruins come back down from come back from a lot down to tie things up at 4 and win it in overtime by the final of 5-4, salvaging Game 3. But the Blues win this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup, winning 2-1. Welcome inside the Bitty Beer Game Studios for your Game 3 game summary presented by your favorite Bitty Beer products. And as you guys can see, oh man, Boston prevented the sweep with a huge comeback, scoring 4 goals in the third to eventually tie things up to force overtime. But of course, Brad Marchand would have to be credited for the game winner in overtime. And Boston would prevent the St. Louis Blues from sweeping today's episode of Stanley Cup Finals Rewind. But St. Louis will be walking away victorious with the Stanley Cup as they would take this rivalry here for the Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup 2-1. For Boston, your goal scorers are as follows: Jake DeBrusk, Kuhlman, Krejci, Heinen, and of course, Brad Marchand would all score. For Krejci, it would be his second, and it would come on the power play. Brad Marchand would, of course, wouldn't be, of course, it wouldn't be Brad Marchand without taking a penalty. So unfortunately, Tuukka Rask had to make a play save to the chagrin of the delirious crowd in St. Louis. And of course, Brad Marchand would skate away with a quality check win for Star. For St. Louis, Tyler Bozak would eventually be one of the three stars of the game, as he would net 2 goals for St. Louis. Vince Dunn and Alex Pietrangelo would also score for St. Louis. Pat Maroon would be the unfortunate penalty taker here for St. Louis late, but Jordan Binnington would end up making the play save to force the game to go to the empty net mini chart before Danton Heinen would score to tie things up to head to overtime. Your quality check winners for St. Louis came from Vince Dunn and Alex Pietrangelo, as Dunn would win the battle for skill and Alex Pietrangelo would win the battle for smart. Here are your key plays of the game from game number 3 of this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup. In the first period, of course, David Krejci would win a critical faceoff right off the bat, but Jordan Binnington would make a spectacular save to keep this game scoreless through the first 5 minutes of game 3. Nothing really happened in the second period, but in the third period, of course, on the empty net mini chart, as mentioned before, Danton Heinen would tie up the game at 4 to send the game to overtime, which would allow Brad Marchand in overtime to net the game-winning goal to prevent the St. Louis Blues from sweeping this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup from the Boston Bruins. Here are your 3 stars from game number 3. Star number 3 honors would have to go to Tyler Bozak, as he would net 2 goals. Star number 2, I think I would have to give it to Danton Heinen, because he would net the game tying goal on the empty net mini chart in the third period. And of course, star number 1, even though he had to take a penalty, but he did win a quality check battle early on, I definitely would have to give it to Brad Marchand, as he would net the game winning goal in overtime. And finally, here are your stars of this Here are your 3 stars from this Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchup between the Bruins and the Blues. And of course, star number 3 honors, I would definitely have to give it to David Krejci, as he would net 2 goals, all on the power play. Star number 2 honors would definitely have to go. I would definitely have to give it to Tyler Bozak, as he also would net 2 goals. But of course, as always, star number 1, Colton Parayko, would stand on his head, shooting the puck to the back of the net for 3 goals, plus netting 2 quality check wins. Well, I hope that you enjoyed today's episode of Stanley Cup Finals Rewind. If you liked what you saw today, a like is very much appreciated. As also, if you have not done so already, subscribe to the channel and also turn on that notifications bell, so that way you won't miss out on any new content that will be forthcoming here on the channel. Stay tuned for what's coming up next here on the Hockey Blast Express Hour. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode of Stanley Cup Finals Rewind between the 2018-19 Boston Bruins and the 2018-19 St. Louis Blues, as we revisited the 2019 Stanley Cup Final. But unfortunately for right now, our time is just about up for this week. But let's see what's coming up next time here on the Hockey Blast Express Hour. And it looks like we're going to be revisiting the 93-94 season, as we have the top 2 goal scorers, as it will be a fierce 60-minute battle between these 2 great teams, as the Detroit Red Wings will battle it out against the New Jersey Devils. Who will come out on top? I guess you're going to have to find out next time here on the Hockey Blast Express Hour. We hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Hockey Blast Express Hour. We look forward to bringing you more episodes of Rivalry Night, Stanley Cup Finals Rewind matchups, and goal scoring frenzy throughout the 2025-26 National Hockey League season.